The American Civil War is the bloodiest war the United States has ever fought in, outpacing the First and Second World Wars, two wars considered bloody in the history of humanity. The American Civil War began with the Battle of Fort Sumter in 1861. Fort Sumter is a vital fort in the middle of the Charleston Harbor in South Carolina. After South Carolina seceded from the United States, South Carolinian forces began to seize all federal property such as government buildings, military installations, and armories. Major Robert Anderson of the Union forces moved all his troops from the surrounding area into, at the time, unfinished Fort Sumter. He was asked to surrender multiple times by the governor of South Carolina. After several failed attempts to reinforce and resupply him by both President Buchanan and President Abraham Lincoln, Robert Anderson again refused to surrender. On April 12, 1861, Confederate forces underneath Brigadier General Beauregard began to open fire on the fort. Confederate forces had over 4,000 artillery pieces and 6,000 men, while the fort only had 60 artillery pieces, 68 men, and 43 civilian workers who were building the fort. The bombardment lasted for 2 days, and miraculously not a single man died over the course of it. The bravery of the defenders touched the Confederate attackers to the point where they were cheering every time the fort fired because it meant the fort was still in the battle. Confederate Colonel Lewis Wigfall, moved by their bravery, commandeered a boat and on his own reconnaissance sailed across the harbor, dodging incoming rounds from both sides, to ask Major Anderson to evacuate the fort, saying, "You have defended your flag nobly, sir. You have done all that you can do. General Beauregard wishes for this fight to end. What will then you, Major Anderson, take for you to evacuate this fort?" Anderson was encouraged by this because this was not a direct call for him to surrender. Despite not authorizing Colonel Wigfall's mission, General Beauregard chose to accept the deal they came up with, which was that Anderson would evacuate the fort, and his only condition being that he be allowed to fire a 100-gun salute in honor of his men. During this firing, a stray spark struck a powder magazine, detonated and killing 2 people. Private Daniel Hugh and Private Edward Galloway were the first casualties of the American Civil War.